Hello and welcome to my movie review series where I review movies. That's kind of obvious, right? Today we are going to talk about drug movies, movies about drugs. Not the mild drugs like cannabis and stuff like that, but the harder drugs, the ones you get addicted to, the ones that will or maybe can kill you. And I'm not gonna limit myself to movies about drug addiction, also drug dealers. And as always, I'm gonna talk about 5 movies. These are not necessarily the 5 best movie about the subject. And
May I have your attention, please?
no,
It is
you
time
may
we
not.
pulled the plug on one of our current releases. Nobody's watching it anymore.
Okay, well, fuck you. Um, where was I? Um, Oh yeah, this is not necessarily the 5 best ones, and this is not a top 5. This is just 5 great movies about drugs. The first one I'm going to talk about is probably the best one as
May
well.
I have your attention, please? An award ceremony will be held soon.
Okay, the first the first one I'm going to talk about is probably the best one. Is Requiem for a Dream, starring Jared Leto. Marlon Wayans is probably his only really serious role, as I know of anyway, and the always lovely Jennifer Connelly. This is a movie about different people with different addictions, and this is a very realistic and very harsh movie. This is a very hard to watch in not as in it's bad, but it's just really realistic. And Jared Leto actually lost several pounds or kilos, if you want, for to make this role, that he actually looked like a drug addict, which is just, I mean, that kind of commitment is rare. And unfortunately, Jared Leto never really has gained the success that I think he deserves. But it's a really amazing movie, like I said, realistic, and it's art. It's a piece of art. That's basically the best way to describe it. The next movie is Blow, starring Johnny Depp, playing the role of, I think his name is George Young, the man who actually started or at least credited for starting I think it was a heroin or cocaine market in the U.S. I can't remember. I think it was heroin market. This is a real story about a drug dealer, but that starts off by just selling like locally and and creates an empire. And he really well, and he actually never really becomes like a drug lord, but he becomes the middleman, the main middleman, the big importer, and that's what the movie is all about. Johnny Depp is amazing in that movie. It's one of his really great roles. I mean, now you only see him play weird pirates and other weird characters that might as well have been weird pirates. He unfortunately Johnny Depp has become typecast recently. But if you want to watch something that really made him stand out, a role that stands out, it's Blow. It's an amazing movie. Next up, we have The Basketball Diaries, starring among others Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg. But Leonardo DiCaprio, of course, the lead. He plays a young basketball player. Well, he plays a young high school student that plays on the basketball team, but he also becomes a drug addict. And this is what the movie is, of course, about. This is once again, a true story. A lot of the movies on this list is actually completely true stories. But this movie is about, you see how he goes from being this great athlete to basically ruining his life for a while at least. Begin to fall into a life of crime just to afford the drugs. And this, of course, is the story the movie is based on is actually written by the guy it's based on. So it's an what's it called, autobiography. So I guess he has become successful So that the thing that actually was his downfall later becomes a success. But I'll bet that he probably would have rather been without that success if he could avoided the drug addiction. Next up, we have another movie based on real life, that is Alpha Dog, starring among others Emil Hirsch, Justin Timberlake, and I was about to say Boris Yeltsin, but no, what's his name? Oh God, I can't remember. Yeltsin, you know the guy. You know who I'm talking about. The guy from uh, you know who I'm talking about. But yeah, this is a movie about one of the youngest ever men to be on the FBI's most wanted list. This is about a guy growing up, a guy played by Emil Hirsch, growing up in a criminal environment. His father was some kind of big drug dealer, and so he started doing it as.
Some call it the most pointless flight of all time. Others say it's the most important flight ever. But what everyone does agree on is that 8 pilots have flown right around the world. And proving
Wow.
Einstein right, when the 8 landed back where they started, they were exactly 1 year younger than when they set off. More on this later.
That was probably not true. But yeah, this movie is about he starts selling drugs just like his old man and becomes a kind of at the age of it's in his early 20s, I think it is, and that age a man should not have so much power. The movie isn't really it's about it is about drugs, but not as much as the others. But it's at least it still is a movie about drugs because he's a drug dealer, and that is a very important, though not the most important, aspect of the movie. The last movie I'm going to talk about is a different kind of drug. This is one of the legal drugs. One of the ones you can go to a pharmacy and buy, and a drug that is often more dangerous than anything you can ever get off the street because it's so easy to get. And this movie is called Prozac Nation, and it stars, among others, Christina Ricci and Jason Biggs. And Christina Ricci, like always, plays the role amazingly as a young college student who, because of all the pressure, falls into depression, gets some prescriptions for Prozac, and just that's where the her real nightmare begins. Because yeah, depression is not just a a condition you need to have medicine to go away. That's where a lot of society fails because it's so much easier to just give a prescription and say, "Hey, take these pills and you'll be happy." But I've known people who actually became miserable from taking it, and that's what this movie is about. It's about an addiction. It's about how the drugs are actually making things worse, and it's an amazing movie. Um, so yeah, that was basically it for today. I know this kind of sounded a little chaotic. These videos are chaotic. I was actually going to do some writing down some like keywords and stuff like that, but my seems that every pen in my flat is either broken or gone. So I couldn't. So I hope this was okay. Let's just sum up the movies that I talked about. We had Requiem for a Dream, Blow, The Basketball Diaries, Alpha Dog, and Prozac Nation. All of them are great movies. So, if you ever want to watch something about drugs, well, or just a great movie, then there you have some ideas. And I'll see you next time for more movie reviews, hopefully a little more organized. And of course, I'll see you next time also for more the movies when I play the game and not just talk over it. Bye.